What's up everyone, it's your friendly neighborhood French Canadian, and today I'm going to show you my Jedi Knight build. Now keep in mind, this isn't meant to be OP or optimal, this is just meant to make you feel like you're playing a Jedi, and it's honestly just for fun. And because I made a Sith build, of course, I'll give you the option of being a Jedi Knight if that's the side of the Force that you prefer. And the other really cool thing about this build is that you can start it really early game and get most of everything that you need mid-game. So this is with my New Game Plus character, but you can definitely start this pretty early on. Now this is a Dex and Intellect build. My character is level 145, and you should really start with a Prisoner because it has the two main stats that you want, which is Intellect and Dex. Let's start with the weapon. Now you want to use the Twin Blade because the Ash of War we're going to use needs a twin blade or pole arm to work. Unfortunately, you cannot put it on swords because you know me. I would be wielding a katana right now if I could. Now, we could be using the War Sickle that Loretta drops when you're in the Haligtree area when you fight them again. But it needs too many stats, you can't buff it, and it only has C scaling when it's fully leveled up. So it's not really a great weapon. You could also use the Gargoyle's Black Blade and the Gargoyle's Twin Blades. But again, those scale with strength, so not really good for us. The only other one you could use is actually the Godskin Peeler, but it's ugly, doesn't really fit the Jedi Knight theme, so we're not gonna use it. And again, the Twinned Knight Swords, which is a Twin Blades, it scales with strength, and it's really bulky and ugly looking anyway, so it doesn't really work. And unfortunately, Eleanor's Pole Blade is an arcane weapon, so we cannot use it. So that's why the Twin Blade is your best bet. And it has a really cool moveset, I don't know, it's just really dope. So you can find it early game in the Dragon Burnt runes, I'll show you where to go. So you want to make it to the far left side of the rune. There's two ways you can go in, one that has a chest that will teleport you, and one that has a chest that has this twin blade. So just come down here. And the twin blade will be in here. Now we're going to need a staff because we're going to be using some magic with this build. Mainly to buff our weapon or to buff ourselves. I'm using the Carrion Regal Scepter, which you get from defeating Renala. I'm just using this one because it's what I had on hand, but you can use any other one. Honestly, this one might not be so good because you need 60 intellect to use it. And I feel like those points should be spent elsewhere, like either in Dex or in Endurance. So get a staff that has at least like 50-55 intellect. There's like 2 that you can get from the Academy, I think, just from going through it. So choose whichever one you like best. The Ash of War we're going to be using is called Loretta's Slash, and you get it from defeating Loretta at Caryat Manor. And it looks like this. And honestly makes this thing look more like a lightsaber than the actual magic buff onto it, which is really cool. So it's pretty cool, I think, and it really fits well with this build. Now, Caryat Manor is located north of the Academy. It's right here. So once you defeat them, you get the Ash of War. Now this Ash of War doesn't do a ton of damage, but having the magic buff on your weapon will help that, and there's some talismans we can use that will also help with that. So once you have Loretta's Slash, you want to put it on your weapon, and you want to use Keen because we want to be using a magic buff on our weapon. Now if you want to really maximize damage fully, you're gonna want to use magic, but you can't use the buff. Now for the spells, the first one we're going to be using is called the Scholar's Armament, and it buffs your weapon with magic. So your weapon will now do both dexterity damage and magic damage, and it also buffs the damage you do with Loretta's Slash. So to get this sorcery, you want to come to Waypoint Runes Cellar here in Limgrave, and you want to talk to Sorceress Selen. She'll be selling it the first time you encounter her. There will be a boss here, I think it's one of those pumpkin heads, if I'm not mistaken. You'll be able to buy it right here for 3,000 runes. The other spell we're going to be using is called Terra Magica. It puts an AoE buff on the ground, and it makes you do more magic damage. So meaning if your weapon is buffed, it'll do more damage, and Loretta's slash will also do more damage with this buff on you. The way to get this spell, you have to make your way again to Liurnia of the Lakes. You'll find it in the Academy Crystal Cave, and I will show you how to get there from the shack right here. 'Now you're going to need the 2 stone sword keys to get in here, but once you do, I'll show you the path, how to get to the boss and how to get to the spell that you need. Once you get here, you're going to have to defeat a boss. It's pretty easy, it's a giant, so you know, just stick on his ankles, do a charge up heavy attack on him, and it'll knock him down pretty easily. Now this will be open to you once you beat him. If I find the freaking lever. 12 years later, once the elevator is finally up, just make your way here. There's a ladder. And the spell will be in a chest on top of the building right here. Right here. Now let's look at the talismans we'll be using. I'm using the Rotten Winged Sword insignia. It raises attack power with successive attacks. So the first attack you do, the second one will be more powerful, which is why I use it. You can also use the Winged Sword insignia, but it takes 3 attacks, I believe, for it to take effect, so I think this one is a better one. But it definitely is an endgame talisman, because you get it at the very, very end of Millicent's questline. Once you get to the Halleck Tree area, you have to fight a putrid spirit in like this rot area, because of course. And then you have to help her defeat her other sisters. If you choose to attack her instead, you'll get a different insignia, just be mindful of that. After that, we'll be using the Warrior Jar Shard. Now, the best one is the Alexander Shard, which you get again at the end of his quest line. You get the Warrior Jar Shard if you kill him, but it boosts the attack power of skills, so it'll make Loretta slash do way more damage because it needs a little boost in that department. The blue feathered Branchsword raises your defense when your HP is low. Honestly, I've been using this for a while now, and it saved my butt many times, especially during boss encounters. And I think it fits with the whole Jedi theme, you know. They meditate more, they're really calm even in the most dire situations, so they're able to overcome any obstacle. I just feel like it fits. Ignore me, I'm a nerd. And then we'll be using Ancestral Spirit's Horn. But you can also use the Carrion Filigreed Crest, which will make Loretta's slash cost less FP. So I feel like you could switch those out, during a boss fight. You can use the Filigreed Crest, and then when you're just roaming around, you can use Ancestral Spirit's Horn to fill up your FP gauge as you're just playing and defeating enemies. Now I explained where to get the Rotten Winged Sword. If you want a more powerful version of the Warrior Jar Shard, you need to make your way. You have to make your way through the Crumbling Farm here. Basically, you'll have to defeat the Godskin duo, and then you'll have to go down to get the lift, and then you'll have to defeat a dragon. So it's super fun. But let's say you've done all that and you've advanced the Pod Warriors quest line up to the Volcano Manor. So if you didn't find him in Volcano Manor, you have to go talk to him. But if you did, and he's just chilling in the lava, then you have to come here. I'll show you the exact path you need to take. Be careful if you fall down here, there's like a million enemies. Now, there will be a dragon here that you need to beat. It's not that hard, doesn't have a very large health pool, so it's not too bad. And Alexander will be right here. You need to talk to him, and then that will be the end of his quest line. He will give you both the Warrior Jar Shard and Alexander's Shard. For the blue feathered Branchsword, it's actually in Limgrave, so you can get it really early on. You want to port to War Master's Shack, and then we'll be going down here on this rune, and you'll have to fight a death bird, so you need to go there at night or it won't spawn. So all you need to do is stand on this area and the bird will spawn and defeat it, and you'll get this talisman. So for the Ancestral Spirit's Horn, you actually need to go to the Ancestral Woods, which you can get to after defeating Radon. You go through the city of Nokron, and then you'll be able to get to the Ancestral Woods. You need to light all the pillars in this area, and then you'll be able to make your way right here, Hollowworn Grounds, and that's where the boss will be. It's a pretty easy one though, and that will award you the Ancestral Spirit's Horn once you use the Remembrance at Roundtable Hold. I did quickly mention the Carrion Filigreed Crest. You can get this at the Road to the Manor. Site of Grace, E.G. will be there. He's a vendor. You'll be able to buy it from him once you either started Randy's quest or Blade's questline. Now for the stats. As I mentioned earlier, my intelligence has to be 60 because of the staff I'm using. But you want your intelligence to be at least 50. I would say dexterity would be 55. Your strength, you don't need any, thankfully. Endurance, 25. Mind, 26. And vigor, 35. So that's what your stats would look like if you're level 145. Now you need intelligence because it will scale off of not only Loretta's slash, and you'll do more damage with the buff on. Now the buff is boosted by not only the staff you're using, so obviously a maxed out staff will make the buff do more damage, but also it will take into account how many points you have into intellect. Dexterity is obviously for the twin blade we're using because it scales better with dexterity. Now if you choose to use the magic scaling instead, not use the buff and only use the Terra Magica, then I would actually have the intelligence like this at 60 and dexterity at 50 or 55. So I'll show you how to fight with this build. Because it is a Jedi Knight, it's very close quarters. So you're gonna want to put the buff on your weapon. You want to put the Terra Magica down because we're going to be fighting a group here. And then you wait for them to come to you. Why are they not like attacking? That's so weird. Come on guys. And you want them to attack you in this because it does like the damage. 2 in 1, we like those. Nope. You try to guard counter me, please. And before I forget, if you want to know where to get the gear I'm wearing the Preceptor set, which you get from completing Ronnie's questline. You'll be able to loot it off Sylvis's body. The gloves and the legs I'm wearing are from the Traveler's set, which you get in the Haligtree area. When you go fight Melania, there's a room on the left, and that's where the set is. So that's the build, everyone. I hope you enjoy it, because I sure had a lot of fun making it. Thank you so much for sticking around and watching. If you want more Elden Ring videos, there are plenty more on my channel. Have yourself a wonderful day, and I'll see you all very soon.